Test.
Welcome, everyone, to the July 18th regular meeting of the Clear Lake City Council. Madam Clerk, can you do roll?
Councilmember Slotin,
Here.
Councilmember Purdock,
Here.
Councilmember Kramer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Overton,
Here.
and Mayor Claffey.
Here. Vice Mayor Overton, can you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You please remain standing. Obviously, this weekend was an important moment in American history. We should all be free to voice our opinion about the things we care about. So if we could take a moment to remember the folks who were lost and injured, or those in your life that may be struggling right now. Thank you. City Manager? Any changes to the agenda?
Move that we approve the agenda as presented. Second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Slutin, a second from Councilmember Kramer. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Votes unanimous. Moving on to item 1, presentation of July's adoptable dogs.
He's himself.
This is Dennis. He is an approximately 3-year-old black lab mix. Dennis has been in our shelter since December 10th, 2022. That's 586 days. This boy is long overdue for a family to call his own. Dennis has good manners and will sit politely and patiently for a treat. Dennis loves to swim, splash in the sprinkler, and enjoy his long hikes. He's also the best at playing fetch. Dennis would do best in an active home. He is neutered, fully vaccinated, microchipped, and ready to meet his forever family. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Good luck, Dennis.
He looks really excited. He looks like a fun, happy.
He's so calm. Yeah.
He likes to jump on people. He was, hit me out in the lot today. So other than that, he's like a really fun dog. So just the update on the statistics, Lieutenant Peterson asked me to, give you this one stat, and then he wanted me to point out something to the council. So, up to 7/18, we've currently taken in 270 dogs, so just over 6 months. 239 of those dogs have left the shelter, 42 have gone to rescue, 182 have returned to owner. We had 13 adopted and 2 were euthanized. We have not lost any in the shelter due to care or escape. We still have a live release rate of 99.04%. The current shelter population is 44 dogs. We have 44 adult dogs and we currently have no puppies. We have 2 cats. We have 11 kittens. We've done 95 microchips this year and we've given out 97 free vaccinations from clinic. Lieutenant Peterson wanted me to compare the stats to last year just in regards to live intake. Last year, for the entire year of 2023, we took in 279 dogs into the shelter. This year, current to 6 months, we've taken in 270 dogs. So we've almost doubled the intake from last year's numbers. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. All right, item number 2, swearing in of our newest police officers. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight we'll be swearing in 3 new department members. I'll have them come on up here with me. I'm gonna give a little introduction bio on the 3 of them, and then we will move on to the swearing in. On the far end down there on my right, we have Dispatcher Daw. Dispatcher Daw was born and raised in Napa. She moved to Lake County in 2015. She loves the community and scenery in Lake County. In her free time, she likes to spend time with her family, friends, and dogs. She loves gardening, paddleboarding, and being outdoors. She started with us in March. It just took a little bit of time to get everything arranged to do this at the council meeting when she has her family and friends here. Next, we have Officer Troughton. She was born and raised in Napa also. After graduating high school in 2016, she joined the United States Marine Corps, where she proudly served until April of 2021. After leaving the Marine Corps, she moved to Lake County. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her family and friends. She also likes to fish and hike. Officer Troughton, we hired her initially as a police officer trainee on January 2nd of this year, and we sponsored her through the police academy. And then after graduating the academy, she started the field training program on June 17th of this year. So she's about a month into the program. Next, we have Officer Scott Sanchez. Officer Sanchez was born and raised in Lake County. After graduating from Kelsey High School in 2018, he went to Yuba College for 2 years, then transferred to Kansas University, where he played football and received a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. In his free time, he enjoys spending time with his family, fishing, and playing sports with his friends. Like Officer Troughton, Officer Sanchez started on January 2nd of this year. He was sponsored. We sent him to the police academy, graduated last month, and started the same day as Officer Troughton on June 17th. Before we get into the swearing in part, I would just like to thank the 3 of them for choosing to come work here. There's lots of opportunities out there in law enforcement, places to work. And we're glad they chose to work here and be a part of this community and help us work with the community to improve safety and quality of life. So with that, we will move on to the swearing in. Solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. All right, if you just want to have someone come up, they'll pin your badge, that'd be great. Thanks.
We're gonna take a 5-minute recess for photos. So if the family wants to come up and take some shots, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Moving on to item number 3, presentation of the 2023 Annual Tourism Report. Mr. Fisher.
Going to give it. We're there. Okay. Hello, I'm Brian Fisher, Executive Director of Visit Lake County, CA, known as the TID. And I'm here to give the mayor and the city council and Clear Lake staff the update for the 2023 marketing report for all of the efforts that we've made in the last year. So we'll just dive right in here. Alan's got my. There we are. So we're going to be really quick and conscious of your time. So this is the agenda for today. Alan? We have a couple new board members since the last time we met. They're both at the bottom, Jeff Pletcher, Director of Marketing and Hospitality at Robinson Rancheria, and Jeff Warburg, the hotel manager at Canacte Harbor Casino, or excuse me, Canacte Harbor Resort. So 2 new board members, but outside of that, the board has stayed pretty steady Eddie. And it's a good group of people. We meet quarterly. So all good in the board on the board space. Tourism, the economic impact of tourism, as we all know, it's a big industry, and it's a very promising industry for Lake County. This will show you the 2023 revenue for our organization. We grew it. It increased 18% year over year from 22 to 23. You'll notice there the largest chunk of our budget, 73%, comes from the county. Both county collections, TID, and then the county also gives us $112,000 in TOT funds to use. So very important key there. The next one is, how have we done over the last 3 years? So kind of where we're at, because this is my 4th year in front of you folks. We got a little bit of data now. We know a little bit where we're coming from. I think we're a little bit more understanding of what's realistic. We do our accounting on a cash basis, so we recognize cash when it comes in, and we recognize an expense when it comes in. So when the county is late by 3 or 6 weeks on a big payment and it moves into the next year, that changes everything for us. So you can see it makes it a little difficult in budgeting, but we're kind of seeing some trends there. We have the 3 jurisdictions, county, 2 cities, and then 2 contracts with Robinson and Twin Pine, and working on the 4th one with our folks at Canacte Vista Casino. And then next is the data from Dean Runyon Associates, the economic impact. I think the real takeaway here, there's 2 that get me kind of excited. You see that the trend is up, sans for, a difficult year in 2020. And then that bar chart over the circle chart over in the other corner, for the first year ever in 4 years, we took market share from our friends up in Del Norte County. So we're number 3. We're not number 4 in terms of the economic impact and the spending. But the next slide will really really says everything. But for every dollar somebody spends in one of our hotels or one of our Airbnbs, they're going to spend $4 somewhere else. So it's really important. The hotel and the service industry, those guys are big beneficiaries. And I know you guys, all of you know this, and the work you're doing here to bring a hotel into Clear Lake is exactly why you're doing that. All boats lift and everything's good. We've only had 2 really new properties put on the marketplace in 2023, really kind of one in 2023, which was Canacte Harbor, which opened in kind of a soft opening. The folks at Hutopia really didn't open until this year in 2024. So more hotel rooms is gonna bring and is gonna lift everybody else's boat. Next up, we have the 2023 marketing program review. We're going to just take a look at what we did in 23. How do we measure success at the TID? We look at website traffic. We look at our social media growth. We look at campaign impressions, email database, marketing partnerships, and public relations, earned media, which is something we've never really been able to look at before. In website traffic, last year was kind of a crazy year with Google Analytics. Google Analytics basically went away and GA4 came in. So it was very difficult, almost impossible for us to do a year over year comparison. But suffice it to say, we had 370,000 page views on our website. 196,000 users and 231,000 sessions. I think most interesting here is that bottom quadrant there, the top referral sources. Where does our traffic come from? And number one is organic search, and that's really good. You want good numbers in organic search. That wasn't happening so much before, but people are looking for Lake County, and that could be anybody from a developer. It doesn't have to be somebody. It's anybody who's looking and what is Lake County all about. Direct is people who are just coming in directly and typing in lakecounty.com. Number two source of our traffic. Paid search. Number three, organic social. Karen Pavoni will look at her work a little bit, and then paid social. So some really important, ways to look at how we get our traffic. The best thing a destination marketing organization has is this website. That's what we sell. We sell the idea of, hey, check us out, take a look, and see if there's something that, interests you. And if you, come and take a look at us and come spend some time in Lake County. Up next is our Book Direct website. So it's a widget that sits on our homepage that it lets people look at places to stay when they come to Lake County. We had over 56,000 searches last year, or in 2023, on our Booking Direct widget. So those are people who are actually going in and checking out dates and looking. If we had a really super sophisticated group of stakeholders that would all be connected to the back end of their reservation booking engines, and we'd be able to do a lot more data on it. But we don't have that, so we're just happy to see really steady growth in that space. Next up is organic social media. Karen Pavoni, as you know, does a great job with our social media. She grew our Facebook page 2%, but she works her hardest really. That her number one medium is Instagram. We grew it organically 13.5%. So we're pleased with those numbers, and we like the reach in other cities. We definitely reach in county, but we love the fact that we're reaching out of San Francisco, Sacramento, Stockton, Santa Rosa, the feeder markets, the drive markets to Lake County. Monthly blog and newsletter. I call it sometimes the monthly slog. It's a lot of work, but we've changed kind of our direction with our newsletter. We want to send newsletters that really promise something, that show what people can do when they come to Lake County. In this case, we were talking about all of our fireworks displays. We recently did one on music. Where are you going to go see music in Lake County? We want it to be topical, more kind of like more newsy than just here's a beautiful winery. So we've switched that gear. We see a lot of increase. We work hard at actually grabbing and getting new email contacts at all of our trade shows. I'll talk about that in a second. Our open rate is above industry average, and our click rate is above industry average. We definitely see people coming into our website from our newsletter spending a lot more time than anybody else. They come in, they're much more of a warm prospect when they come in from a newsletter. Paid search, it's a numbers game. Close to 500,000 impressions, 46,000 clicks to the website from paid search on Google, and a click rate and a CTR, click-through rate that's higher than industry average. We're happy with that. And what are they looking for when they search in Lake County? They're looking for camping in California. They're looking for cabins in California. They're looking for places to go. They're looking for Clear Lake. So we hone in on those keywords. We have thousands and thousands of keywords, but we really follow and we spend our money against the ones that bring us the most people. Next up is paid social, Facebook and Instagram, probably the strongest one for us without a doubt. On the left-hand corner, we run every quarter, we switch it up. We run what's called a carousel. We run 8 different properties in Lake County. And they flash by a reader really quickly, but each one of them will talk about something really cool at that property. And we want to show the depth and the breadth of what we've got in Lake County. So it's important for us on social that we do some brand advertising, and we actually have some video that we do on our social media, paid social media. And we try to drive people. We experiment. For a long time we were driving them just to the homepage. I said, well, let's try to drive them somewhere else. So we were driving them to our See Do page, which has got a lot of activities and events. And what we saw with that was the drop off was really fast for some reason. Like they would not spend time spent was like 3 seconds. It's like, okay, let's not do that anymore. Let's go back to our homepage. So there's ways to play with this stuff. And I think we're getting a little bit better and we're kind of figuring it out a little bit more. programmatic display banners. So this is like the top of the pyramid. This is where you're really trying to just lay down the idea of like Lake County is a place for people to go visit in our feeder markets. And so a lot of impressions. You don't get a lot of clicks out of this stuff. You're really looking to just talk about kind of our key pillars: hiking and biking, wining and dining, and our lake life. Next up. We also do video on the programmatic display. It's called Connected TV, and we deliver a ton of impressions there, 1.4 million impressions. Now, nowhere near the kind of clicks that you're going to get out of like a search or a social, but it's the right place for us to be. And we have some pretty cool stuff, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing there in the next couple of weeks. Next up, a partnership with North of Ordinary. This is a huge partnership, folks. We are in the North Coast region for Visit California. There's 12 regions that California divides into tourism regions. Ours is called North Coast. We call it North of Ordinary, and it's Lake, Humboldt, Mendocino, and Del Norte County. We all four of us put in $11,000. So we have $44,000, and then the county, or excuse me, the state, Visit California, matches that $44,000. This year, we actually got the visitor center in Ukiah to throw in some money too. So we're going to be even higher. And we take all that money, and we're able to really drive people to our websites, and we're able to attend some trade shows. It's a great partnership with us. There are people that I can call all the time and ask, what's going on in your space, and we all kind of talk all the time. Tomorrow we have our biannual meeting, which will be by Zoom. So the North Coast partnership is really strong. North of Ordinary, this is the campaign that we ran on USA Today. So it's in the West Coast, and we talk about water, wine, and redwoods. It's hard when, we don't have a lot of coast. We have 110 miles of lakeshore. They've got, hundreds of miles of coast, but they work really hard, and they're very amenable to working to include us. So, we often get like lead stuff on it. Like anyway, it's a good partnership. They understand kind of where we're coming from, but this campaign alone already this year has done about almost 3,400 emails. So it's great for us. They're warm leads. We'll send them out do you really want to receive an email from us? And, we'll see we'll see the percentage of them drop, but we keep building our database, and that's a good thing. Next up. Our partnerships. Again, Visit California, the largest destination marketing organization in the world is Visit California. Very important group for us. Very important that we raise our profile there. This year or last year, they invited us in for a mixer. We put in before their entire staff, their ad agency, their public relations people. We told them we had 15 minutes. They broke it into groups. We did it 10 different times, and we basically brought Lake County to life. It was really fun. We had Joy Marilise there talking about our wine industry and our volcanic wines and everything that we do in the wine space. We had Melinda there talking about micro farming and all the cool stuff that's going on in the organic farming space. And then our total rock star, Angela De Palma Dow, they're talking about Clear Lake, bringing it to life. And it was mesmerizing, and a lot of good stuff came out of that. So we continue with those partnerships, and we also continue to fund the CTA program, the Certified Tourism Ambassador Program. That's the program that helps everybody in Lake County that have somebody that's in a service-facing position get trained in how to talk about Lake County, how to help visitors, how to be really visitor-facing. And it's a great program, continues to have really great classes and full classes, and we're really pleased with the program. Next up, our trade shows. Great partnership. The Lake County Wine Grape Commission took out a big booth at the San Diego Wine Festival, something we would never be able to afford to do. They said, Brian, if you can get yourself down there and you can get something together for your table, you're invited into our booth with about 12 or 13 other wineries. So we went down there. It was in November, and we sold the heck out of Lake County. We had a sweepstakes that the Tallman gave us 2 nights. And a $50 gift certificate. We signed up a lot of people who were interested in winning and learning. And I mean, just the conversations were really fun. People were really engaged with what's going on and where are you guys? And I can't believe you're just above Napa County and I've never heard of you. So we hear that a lot. Next up, we're going again this year. It's in November again this year. We also attended the Outlook Forum for Visit California. It was in Sacramento last year. It was Trudy who helps us with public relations, and then our agency account manager, Amber. And it's a great show. It's all the industry people, and it's a great place to see, be seen, and to make sure that Visit California knows that you're there. So we continue to do our trade shows. We had our visitor map. Seems like old news, but that was last year, 23. Visitor map is great. Printed 65,000 of these. They've been all over the visitor centers, and I've seen them all over Lake County. Just walked into, I forget where it was, and they had it on their wall, and they put it on some spongy board. So the map has been great, and yes, it was all ad supported. We love that. We love that stuff. Next up, public relations, earned media. Earned media is something that's new because we really never had any. we would just get that usual, rotten story about the algae in the lake. That's kind of all we got. So we're seeing a lot more earned media now where people are paying attention. They're writing about Lake County, and earned media can go both ways. We can still, we all know that we can get that NASA picture on June 1st, and those hurt, and that is earned. It's just the wrong kind of earned media. But we're happy with the earned media that we've got. And I think that that's something that Visit California can help us a lot with, because they're kind of like the receptacle and the recipients of people who are wanting to come into the lake or come into California and write about California. So earned media is really cool. Next up. It was February of last year, we renewed the district for 10 more years. And we went from 1.5% to, or 1.5 to 2.5%. So happy about where we're going there. It's just going to take time, but the district is here for till 2033. Pleased with that. And a little bit of an outlook. So what's going on? Because we're halfway through this year. What's happening in 2024? First up, I think you've all probably seen Lake Life Magazine. It was a great partnership with the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, City of Clear Lake, for your seed money support to get us started. We printed 20,000 copies of the magazine. It's 80 pages with 4 covers, all advertising supported. And we've got 10,000 of those, 20,000 copies out of county, sitting in all of the California visitor centers and at the Charles Schulz Sonoma Airport. So people getting off the plane can pick up a really cool magazine about Lake County. So we're happy with that distribution. It went to all of your stakeholders in your town. So all of the hotels were really, really excited to have it. And we're going to use it at all of our trade shows. We'll have something a little nicer to hand out now than just a map. That speak a little bit. Realtors love it. Businesses love it. So happy with the magazine. We're doing a lot with the community. The economic development. That's economic development. Help me out. Help me. What? Economic Development Corporation. We partnered with the chamber. We did a Lake Leadership Forum. And who is that sitting in the right-hand corner? That is the CEO of Visit California, who came to Lake County to open up and give the keynote speech at our leadership forum. It was a gorgeous day on the lake over in Lakeport. Beautiful new restaurant on the waterfront. We had a house. And it was like really cool. People were feeling it great. She had her staff there. It was a great thing. Again, working those relationships at Visit California, very important. Next up, we're gonna have some new faces. I got a lot of flack last year from some of the old faces. We got some new faces of Lake County. And it's a long story, and I won't take you through it, but the great partner in the Lake County Wine Grape Commission, they said, we will help you. We will fund a shoot, a really high deal shoot. We've got really great folks, and they're going to come to town 9 different times, and we're going to get all of those assets, and those assets are going to go into our asset bank so that we can make better commercials, better social, better everything, because we've never had video. We've used our photography kind of like Ken Burns, and we move it along. We're gonna have some really new stuff. And this was the group that we shot for 2 days at two different locations all around the county. We've got a lake shoot coming up that's going to be really beautiful. We're going to do a camping shoot at Clear Lake State Park. So we really want to capture the county in video. Short form video is kind of where everything is going, especially in social media. So we need those assets, and we really thank the Lake County Wine Grape Commission for that partnership. And next up is earned media just this year alone. we're kind of rocking it. People are finding Lake County. They're writing about us and they read it and somebody else wants to read it or write about it. We're pleased with that. A lot of it comes through Visit California and then they kind of, then, you know, there's a follow me, a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. I just yesterday received a request from Travel and Leisure Magazine. Go figure, Travel and Leisure. They want to spend time in Mendocino, Lake County, and Napa County. It's like, we can do that. We got you. So I'm excited about it. The next one is a little bit more earned media. And then last but not least, Alan, is thank you very much, City of Clear Lake, for your support. And love to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any questions from council?
Thank you. It seems like the trend is.
Yeah, I feel like we found what we can and can't do, and it's hard in the beginning. You really didn't know, and then we started this district. We ran straight into like a global pandemic, so it's now we're kind of coming out. We're like figuring it out, and I think I feel pretty good about it. To be honest with you, Dirk, I think that we need more places. We need more product for people to stay in. We need more utopias. We need more hotels in all of our jurisdictions. We need better properties and better places for people to stay. And then they will. I really believe they will. We've got the natural resources and we've got goods. But we need to just continue to grow in all those areas.
Do you have a question? Oh, all right. If there's no other questions, Mr. Fisher, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
The
Thank you,
evidence is clear. I think you have done a superb job with this organization. So thank you for all you do. Moving on to item 4, presentation of proclamation declaring July 2024 as Parks Make Life Better Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized, self-directed fitness, play, and activity. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports the economic vitality of communities by partnering with local businesses and nonprofits and offering events for residents' engagement. And whereas Parks and Recreation creates memorable experiences through youth sports and enrichment activities, teen centers and programs, senior activity centers, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. And whereas Parks and Recreation fosters social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, promoting spaces to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. Whereas Parks and Recreations supports human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, and emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthens community identity by providing facilities and services that reflect and celebrate community character, heritage, culture, history, aesthetics, and landscape. Whereas Parks and Recreation facilitates community problem and issue resolution by providing safe spaces to come together peacefully and serving as key points of service, helping our communities heal both physically and emotionally. And whereas Parks and Recreation sustains and stewards our national resources by protecting habitats and open space, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of parkland. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports safe and vibrant, attractive, progressive communities that make life better through positive alternatives offered in their recreation opportunities. Parks and Recreation remains versatile and innovative in providing vital services to communities through local, national, or global emergencies, all while adhering to guidelines set forth by governing agencies. And whereas the California Parks and Recreation Society has released a statewide public awareness campaign, Parks Make Life Better, to inform citizens of the many benefits of utilizing parks, facilities, programs, and services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the citizens of Clear Lake or the citizens of California recognize the importance of access to local parks, trails, open space, and facilities for the health, wellness, development, inspiration, and safety of all Californians. And be it further resolved that we declare the month of July 2024 as Parks Make Life Better Month. Signed this date by me. Do we have someone? No? Okay, we'll hand this off to Teen when we see her again. All right, moving on to item F, public comment. This is the time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter that's not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. I have some written comments here. Public comment, you have 3 minutes. First up, Alice Reese. You have a couple of topics here.
This is working.
It is.
Good evening, staff and council. I wanted to say something about the water company. Every month I receive a letter from the water company, just Highlands Water. Okay, every month I get a letter from my water company stating that the city is suing them. I don't want you guys to sue my water company. You know, come on. I don't think that with all the things you say that's wrong with the water company, that city wants to take on that burden. I think that now, I think last year was approved that these private water, not for profit water companies can attain government funding. And I think that you should help them do that rather than sue them. I don't think that you should be taking over all 3 of our water companies. I don't think that you are able to handle it. Not much fun. Then I want to just make a comment about the temporary location of a taco truck business on Lakeshore Drive. This is where used to, I can't remember what was there before, but this man spent a lot of money clearing the land and the city condemned the buildings that were there. And he doesn't have proper parking. He's never come to the planning commission, didn't even get permits. So I think that's something that we should look into. Or the council should look into, because I never heard of a temporary business. Oh, let's spend all this money and try it out for a while. No, I don't think that's right.
You're referring to Highlands Park, the food truck area?
Yes.
Okay. City manager, can you clarify if they have the proper permits to do that?
Yes, they have the proper permits. They were given a temporary use permit for 1 year to, they have all the permits from environmental health to operate.
Thank you.
Since when do we do temporary businesses? I've never heard of that being done here.
It's a temporary use permit.
Even for a temporary use permit, wouldn't you have to?
Well, we can't have a discussion about this, but it is set up in our zoning ordinance. So, you know, if you want to come in and talk the particulars about it, we'd certainly be able to do that.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to mention was the senior center being closed. We were kicked out of the senior center in the middle of October of last year. We still have not been able to go back. You know, it's important for seniors' well-being, emotionally, mentally, and physically, to be able to congregate with our own age group and do things with each other. And that's not happening. And I think that, I don't know what the excuse is, but I also had scheduled an event that I had to cancel at the last minute because the senior center wasn't open when they said it would be. Now, and I also wanted to brag that we are doing a craft fair on August 3rd. Hope you at least take a peek. I think it'd be nice. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Mr. Frank Costner.
My name is Frank Costner. I'm the general manager of Konocti County Water District. Couple of comments I have is One is that Canoctown County Water District does want responsible growth and development in the city. We are pro-growth. We just would like the developers to pay their own way. A little bit about myself. So I've been working with the Water District for 36 years now. I've lived in Lake County since 1976. And over those years, I have observed the water quality in the lake getting significantly worse, especially over the past 10 years. And as the community can see along the shoreline of the lake, there's huge algae mats that form. And even during this year, when we had significant water in the lake, the algae mats are forming. I can smell them for about 2.5 miles from the lake where I live. And for whatever reason, it seems that the water quality is getting worse. I would recommend that the city council form a committee to address the shoreline algae and the raw water quality issues that we have. Currently, the city council has formed a committee to investigate water issues. And their investigation of water issues is to consolidate the water districts and to take over the water districts so that there's one water. The water district feels like the city has some issues that they need to address themselves before they start taking on greater responsibilities, such as running a water district. As you probably are all aware, the city does have a system. The city has a stormwater collection system. And so I was just wondering if anybody in the council has inspected the stormwater system in the Adamsworth Mountain County Water District operates. And what grade would you give the water system? What infrastructure grade would you give your current water system that you have? That's just a suspicious question, but so I'm not sure if you're aware, but a lot of the roads are completely underwater during winter time. And the drainage, even though we did get a significant, you guys have done a great job on chip sealing the roads, the water infrastructure was not addressed before the chip seal was done. And unfortunately, those by not having those improvements done, the chip seal is not going to last as long as it would have if those improvements were done. So there's a watershed, and when the watershed is not managed correctly, the silt and debris around the hills will wash into the lake. So when the silt and nutrients from the surrounding areas wash into the lake, that makes the water quality in the lake worse. And so I would just hope that the city would consider looking into these issues and addressing them instead of trying to take over the water. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kostner. Leslie Sheridan.
My name is Leslie Sheridan, and I have a recurring issue with a neighbor that is a meth and fentanyl dealer, and it is a noise ordinance violation. This has been going on for a very long time. Last time I was in here, they had dogs on the property. The dogs went on and on and on for 4 months. It went on and on and on, and it was not handled. The police and the animal control both pointed at each other. Oh, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. Oh, they're going to handle it. They're going to handle it. Then it went on for 4 months and nothing got done until I came here. I walked out of here and immediately was told by a police officer that it was because the pound was full. So this is more than a noise ordinance issue. This is a health and well-being issue for myself as well as for other people. I have epilepsy, and the number 3 causes of triggers for a seizure are stress, interrupted sleep, or lack of sleep. And this has been going on and on and on. And when I walked out of here last time and I said both the police and the animal control knew about that for over 4 months, despite my writing, begging for them to get on the problem, and they knew about it. And I walked out of here and the guy tells me it was because the pound was full. So you're going to put my well-being and the well-being of other people because your damn pound is full. And that is not okay. It is not okay. If I get in a vehicle or I walk somewhere and I wind up having a seizure and I harm someone, kill someone, that is on you. That is on you. And the same thing is going on. The drug operation has increased. They're dealing with the meth and heroin guy across the street who's more smart and more respectful than the one next door. The one next door, my bedroom is literally 8 feet from the front door. And the drug thing going in and out, the banging, the hammering, and the police show up and they say, oh, you know, we don't hear anything going on now. And if they don't show up right when it's going on, it's not going on. If they didn't show up, oh, it must not be going on. And then I've had police over the years. Unfortunately, I live on a block with tons of drug users. The drug dealer across from me who blew up the neighbor's house several years ago, next door to him, hazmat came in, whatever the hell they made meth with. And the ones next door, it is massively expanding. There are cars out the back. It's like 5 new cars and it's ridiculous. This guy comes in, this new tenant that's being hired by the drug dealer. He comes in, this is the way you meet the neighbor. You come up, you see somebody in the yard and you're like, so who are you? Oh, I'm your new neighbor. I said, what are you doing in my yard? He's in the yard. Oh, I'm fixing your fence for you. I said, I didn't give you permission to be in my yard. Next thing I know, he said, oh, I pulled your weeds for you. I want that. I want you to stop the noise. All I'm asking is for you to follow the law. But these people, they don't follow the law anyway. So, and by the way, I've had years, unfortunately, living on this damn block. And unfortunately, due to financial reasons, I can't leave right now. And I haven't been able to leave. So I'm stuck here. And the coding department, I've had.
Thank you, ma'am.
With this police department. I have a letter from my neurologist. I have a letter from my neurologist. I have a letter that I put on their front porch this morning. I have a picture of violence against my fence.
Yep.
And I will tell you at this point, with this not being handled, I'm going to tell you right now, and I could have done this last time when I walked out of here. I will tell you, if I get one more lying police officer the other day, oh, you know, you don't need to sign
Okay,
a
ma'am.
citation.
Ma'am, if you could, I have Lieutenant, I have, okay, Lieutenant Sanders in the back here. Please share that material with him. He will connect with us after.
And I told Andy White this when he was in the department, when Cody was trying to keep them getting heat in my house. California SB 2, reporting dishonest police officers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That is all we have for written submissions. If anyone here in the chamber would like to make a public comment, now's the time to come forward. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, oh, I'm sorry, come ahead.
Times, no response. I've left him messages. He has not returned my call about the street. I'm still getting big potholes. There's a lot of traffic going up my street, down the street, and we have potholes. And I can't see why we can't have our street paved just like everybody else have theirs done. Why do I have to wait till we're on a list? Or you get time to have it done? But I've seen so much other work around here being done. And nothing, we call and nothing is being done. So why should someone say, give me a call if you have a problem? I call, I leave a message, no response. So what good is that?
So ma'am, we do have a lot of road work happening. Would you mind sharing what street you're on? Excellent.
53.
All right, we'll look into that. Thank you. Yes, come on forward.
Driving on the wrong side of the road. I'm just wondering, maybe get some yellow lines that would tell people which lane to drive, which side of the road, because it scared me and
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone else in the chamber? Yes, please come forward.
Margaret Garcia, City of Clear Lake, I live. I too have been in here time and again to discuss and bring up the road conditions. And like this lady here, the potholes I've said before, you can drive into. And I'm just curious as to, I know there's a lot of work being done up on Joaquin Avenue, all this grant that's being applied for to do more work in that area. I'm wondering why the focus so much in that particular area. They're doing work where they just did this huge renovation, you know, a pull out, stop signs, and now they're doing more planned work. And as far as sidewalks go and why there are no sidewalks in this town, why is it then when there's new building, new like the avenues or the airport project, why aren't the new building developers responsible for putting in those sidewalks so we don't have more neighborhoods with dirt sidewalks and potholes that, you know, are forming? The entire city is going to be, except for Joaquin Avenue, is going to be full of potholes. And that's how I drive around. It's just in and out of potholes. And not to mention, walking is a major hazard. If you're walking around the park, nothing but potholes. So you have a beautiful park, again, I mentioned, and you've got the streets around it are crumbling and have been for decades. So I'd like this gal, you know, to have some work done on the streets that have been here forever. And nothing's been done. They're just neglected. They're not important. And I'd like some focus to be put on the road conditions in this town. So I live on Ewell Avenue, if you'd like to know where I live, the street I live, and it's highly traveled. The potholes are getting worse on my block, at the end of my block, where the school buses, you know, gather to pick the kids up. So it's something that you guys really need to focus on, look into, go check it out. Because you know, you must live in areas where you don't have that problem. Okay, but there's a lot of us that have lived here for a long time that have been dealing with this for many years. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And we all know we inherited a very difficult situation with the roads. About 2 meetings ago, we gave out our plan for road development, so we can get you the recording. Any other comments here in the chamber? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any comments for Zoom?
There is one comment on Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Read that, please.
The commenter is Brian Hughes. He states, "Hello, my name is Brian Hughes. I am the attorney for Highlands Water Company. I have 2 questions. One, at a recent city council meeting when Mr. Rob Roscoe presented on Highlands, the city manager stated that he had scheduled multiple presenters on the subject. Highlands officially requests this list and offers its assistance in coordinating with the presenters on offering information for them to have for their presentation. 2, the city attorney and I have emailed concerning setting up a meeting between Highlands and the city on water issues. However, the city attorney's opinion is that it should be set up between the city manager and the general manager. However, I've stated to him multiple times that I will be representing Highlands in organizing the meeting, though I don't have to be there. As this topic is not on the agenda, I am concerned that the city attorney is unable to get your opinion on the agenda for a meeting between us. I have asked him what the council's opinion is with no response. That concludes Mr. Hughes's statement.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Hughes. All right, I will bring it back and close public comment and move on to item G, our consent agenda. Do any council members have anything they want to pull from the consent agenda? Anyone here in the chamber want to pull an item? All right, I'll bring it back.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda. I'll second it.
I have a motion from Councilmember Purdock, a second from Councilmember Slutin. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 12, discussion and consideration of a mitigation fee program on behalf of Lake County Fire Protection District. Mr. Floor?
Yeah, sure. I can give a brief overview of the staff report. So I think we've had this on the agenda 3 different times up to this point, workshop, official public hearing. And then the council actually adopted changes to the municipal code related to this. But as you recall, when this was originally adopted in the 90s, the municipal code itself had the fee structure in it, which is something that we don't do anymore. We refer to a resolution where all the fees are included. And so the changes that the council made previously made that change referring to a resolution. And we haven't brought that back because there was interest from the council and some other folks about the sort of this county-wide discussion about development fees and the impact on development across the whole county. That meeting, for a variety of reasons, never actually happened. And the county and the city of Lakeport have both adopted fees for their jurisdictions. And so we've had some discussions internally about this, and we had a meeting or two with Mayor, Councilmember Kramer, and the fire district to talk about this. And I'm not sure what all you want to go into, but basically based on Councilmember Kramer and Mayor Claffey and kind of discussions we crafted the resolutions before you tonight related to those fees. And I guess open up the discussion from there on if it's any changes that the council wants to make. What's recommended in the resolution itself is essentially what was requested by the fire department for residential and non-residential, and then high impact surcharge, the administrative surcharge. So that will result in essentially, almost a doubling of fees for residential, and then for larger commercial projects would be a tripling of those fees. One thing that at this point hasn't been recommended by the council members that were involved in this is including the automatic CPI adjustment, which was included in the fire district's, I guess, recommendation to the council for adoption. So, we can, I think, according to the way we have the agenda item set up, we need to kind of address the resolution. And then there are some changes that we've worked with the fire district's consultant on related to our ordinance around this, which hasn't been updated in quite a period of time. And so there's a few things that need to be tweaked. And so what I'd like to do is address the resolution, and I have a few kind of questions for the council to give staff direction on, and then we'll bring back those ordinance adjustments at a future meeting for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Floor. Any questions here from the council? Seeing none, I before I open up to the public, I want to thank the fire district for being patient as we go through this process. I appreciate your partnership, and well, we wish we could have had more buy-in from the county to have a more holistic conversation around development. to delay this any further just seemed unsustainable. So we look forward to continue conversations with you and all the districts here that affect Clear Lake. All right, I'll open it up to public comment. If anyone here in the, yes, please come forward.
Hi, Margaret Garcia. Now I know I was here a few meetings back when the fire department was here. And I'm just curious, this discussion on an ordinance and doubling and tripling the fees, is that something that's gonna happen like once you decide how much or what the fee amount is gonna be? Is that just gonna go into effect? And how are these fees are gonna affect our taxes on a yearly basis? And is this something that has been decided?
So these are development impact fees. So every time there's a new development, whether it be a home or commercial property, these fees are applied. So as a resident, unless you build a new home or expand your home, you won't be paying these fees.
They're not spread around. They're
Correct.
just still folks that are doing the development.
Correct.
Okay, and that's the same thing I'm wondering as far as doing developing, why aren't folks being responsible for putting in sidewalks and putting in proper driveways and streets and that type of thing? So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments here? Chief?
Willis Pitt, I'm your local fire chief. Just a short little letter in response to, us working with you guys the other day and your time meeting with us. Myself. Thank you for letting me come up here and speak. Like I said, it's been a long road. Mayor Claffey and Salt Lake City Council and City Manager Ellen Flora. I'm writing to thank you for your supporting the fire mitigation fee schedule for future development in the city of Clear Lake. This does help save lives and funds critical fire protection and emergency medical response services for your community. But we'd like to have that pursuit to discuss the adding the automatic annual inflation adjustments to the mitigation fees based upon the engineering new record construction cost index to your resolution. That would align with the balance of our next study. Including the adjustments in the resolution creates an equal burden share of inflation costs. In the absence of an adjustment, we'll have to go through the entire nexus process, which is very costly and very time consuming for both our personnel, city staff to meet and discuss the outcomes. This would have to be done every time we did a fee increase. This will force the district to continue to meet the needs of the development with no gradual increase to align with the inflation. Building tomorrow's facilities using yesterday dollars aren't working there, not working anywhere for not having another increase in 8 years will put us back in the same position which we are now, increasing proposed large increases in one term. Increase to make up for potentially up to 8 years. I know we talked about doing another study in 3 years, but we do have the opportunity to go 8 years out, which would allow us to really get a chance to gauge and look at the future development. My department continues to seek grant funding. We have multiple grants out for apparatus, equipment, and other funding opportunities, which will help bridge some of the gaps for the equipment that we're looking at. But we look at building out big infrastructure. We really need to look at the best we can utilize those funds. And that CPI, we realize that the development or the money we get from the development is not even going to come close to what we're going to need to finance what we need. And that's why we save as much as we can. We're very conservative in our spending. And we look at grant funding, we look at creative financing. We, a couple of years ago, funded our UA unfunded liabilities into the district about $2.5 million. So we are always looking at creative, but we just feel, and looking at a lot of the research we did on Nexus studies, a majority of them, about 90% always have that adjustment in there. So I'm kind of asking you to consider adding that to our resolution. I would appreciate it, and we're still here to support you and the community, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Would anyone like? Yes, sir.
Hello again, Frank Costner, a private citizen. So I'm here in support of the fire department. I realize that, when you raise development fees, it impacts development. But I believe that development should be paying their own way as far as fire protection. It's really important. I don't know if you guys noticed, but our fire department kicks butt. We had the fire in Lower Lake and we had the fire in Clear Lake. And they attacked that very well, and I don't believe any structures were lost. There was, one of my employees was by the one in Clear Lake, out by the gooseneck, and it was, I saw some pictures. It was quite. It looked pretty scary, and they really did a great job. Our fire department does a great job, and I'm just here to support them in that. And then so. Along that is that Conocta County Water District has installed 3,200 feet of water main with 8 new fire hydrants on Dam Road. That project's now complete, and I want to thank Alan and the staff. They're working with us on the paving. I know this is kind of off topic, but they're working on us with paving the road. And I really appreciate your guys' help on the paving job, and so that's the type of the work that we'd really like to see, and the same with the fire department, all working together for fire protection in the city of Clear Lake. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I want to just say again, we have to support our fire department. We've had so many fires over the years, and they do a great job on containing them as best they can, and they need the equipment, to be able to continue doing that. And this is a way that the developers can help bear those costs instead of each citizen's, taxes going up, assessments on properties and things of those natures. So I think that's why it's really important that we support the fire department and support the Nexus study and their increases. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments here in the chamber? You can be next, ma'am, if you want to come forward. You can go now. She just raised her hand at the same time.
Davis, City of Clear Lake. I also support the fire department. We are all grateful that we live within the city limits and we have the fire department that we do. I just was recently able to get fire insurance again on my property for $8,200 a year. Part of the problem was the lack of ingress and egress from the city blocking these streets. Not very happy about that. When you go to consider adding the CPI, and keep in mind it's no different than your 3% COLA that you guys are looking at approving here later on too. So think about that.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to just say, thank you for doing what you're doing for the fire department. Our fire department is amazing, amazing. We are so fortunate to have you. You're fortunate to have Willie as the head. And so I'm just asking you, please, try to give the fire department what they need. You've got so many fires. We have people that don't keep their yards maintained. They've got it's a battle for them because people don't do what they're supposed to do in maintaining their properties. Is there any way there can be something that the council could come up with, or a committee where there could be something worked out to where if somebody's not maintaining their weeds or their yard, where there could be taxes or fees, fines, and that money generate to the fire department to help get more need, or
hire mud people to weedy for people that maybe can't afford it or whatever. But there's gotta be another way to help get some of these weeds down. And give our firefighters a fighting chance to begin with. It's just really what we're going. So that's all I wanted to say is thank you. And please think about them. They're great. We couldn't ask for a better fire department.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments here in the chamber? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any comments on Zoom?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
I'll bring it back to council. Councilmember Sutton.
I'm all in favor of having the CPI index on it. And also, who's going to collect these fees? Is the city's going to do it or the fire department do it? There was some conversation about it the last time. Has that been determined?
No, I mean, the ordinance now says the city will collect them.
Okay, so we're keeping it that way.
Well, I don't know. That's up to you. But
I like the city to collect it.
Councilmember Purduck.
Well, I just want to thank everybody. And also to say, I don't know that there were too many that were against the fire department receiving this unnecessary funding. I know I wasn't. I also want to thank the fire department for the great work that they do, and I recognize that. I was out the other night looking at the fire off of San Joaquin. You guys did do a great job, as you always do. I'm also, I just want to echo support that Councilmember Slutin gave. We need to have the CPI adjustment, so Ms. Garcia won't have to come in and say, why are you doubling it or tripling it? Because it will go up automatically as it should. And that's my sentiment.
Vice Mayor Overton.
Well, I reiterate both of my council members' opinions. I think our fire department are always the best. I think anywhere they go in California, they're always recognized as being one of the best fire departments that we have. I definitely believe that the city should definitely collect the money. I think that was an issue before that they were collecting, and that's, I think, why a lot of this got missed is because there wasn't anybody really paying attention because it was here and here, and everybody kind of comes in after the fact and didn't know anything needed to be changed. So I do believe that the city, I am definitely for the city to be in the pass through, of course, of not keeping it, but it's going to pass through so we can keep track of it and not have to worry about this kind of things happening again. And you know, I'm for a steady increase and not a big whammy too. So thank you, Willie, and your staff. They do a really great job for our community.
Councilmember Purduck.
Yeah, I just forgot to add I do think that we should collect it, whatever we can do to help facilitate the collection of those fees, and then route that to the fire department would be the best way to go.
Councilmember Sutton.
It would be also part of our yearly budget and fee resolutions anyway, so.
Councilmember Kramer.
I think you know, Willie, and the fire department, how I feel about the fire department. I'm sorry, was that not on?
That's why I turned it on.
Sorry about that. I think you know how I feel about the fire department. I fully agree with my fellow council members about the job that you do, about the fact that when I need help, I know it's right down the street. You know, your last fee, this fee that we're now increasing was actually not ever increased. It was 85 cents. We've gone ahead and we've gone with what your Nexus study says. And I did my own little CPI, which is a lot simpler than the one you did, and came up with virtually the same thing. So I fully support, and I told you that the other day, that amount. I'm not so much big on the CPI, to be very honest with you. It's been 31 years and we're doubling the fees. I'm not too sure I agree that it's going to double or increase by 50% even, or 25% in the next 3 or 4 years. So my support for the CPI isn't as great. I will certainly go along with the rest of my fellow council members on whatever the majority decides. But that is my personal feeling, and I feel like I've got to say that. And that's certainly nothing against the job that you do. You do a fantastic job. I know that, and I'll defend that forever. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
Councilmember Purdock.
I did have one more comment. Sorry that I have to do these do-overs, but I also would like to point out to the community, we need to watch what's happening with other special districts and how their funding is acquired. By bringing this to us, and I think it's important for us to bring this out, to discuss it. And so you guys all have an option and an opportunity to share your opinions with us. I am 100% in support of helping our school districts. We've got an increasing student population that needs to be met. But one of the things I found out was the state implemented a significant increase that we really didn't have any say over that. And I just want people to be aware of that. I mean, more than double what the fire departments ask, and it just came in the middle of the night. So pay attention to that, see where those taxes are going and all those development fees, because as you heard from the TID presentation, we are trying to make a better place here in Clear Lake for us to live and for people to come and visit. But with more and more development fees and impact fees, that sometimes limits our growth and doesn't allow developers to put in sidewalks and all the infrastructure we would like them to.
Councilmember Kramer.
Yeah, Councilmember Purdock kind of reminded me of, that's exactly the point that I did not get in to make. You know, we on the council are looking at certainly fire fees. We're also looking at water. We're looking at sewer. We're looking at a lot of things. And our focus is on bettering the city and in growing our economic base through development of businesses that will create jobs that will allow our citizens to buy a better home or buy a home, period. So we're looking at all of these things. We're not just, well, you're focusing on fire department, water, et cetera. Trying to focus, we're looking at the whole thing and trying to put it together, be able to move the city forward. And I hope you all realize that we're looking at a lot more things and we make our decision, and it may not sound fair to you or you individually or your cause individually, but trust me, we spend a lot of time agonizing over this. And we're friends and neighbors. That's the thing about this small city. I'm not just a city councilman. I'm pretty much, I know all of you. And I'm neighbors with most of you. So we don't do anything lightly here. And that's something that I think maybe sometimes you need to give a little more emphasis to, or a little more thought to. We're not your enemy. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Kramer. My position is I don't support the CPI. None of our city fees have a mandatory fee increase. We review them every year, just like we review COLA every year. And I believe that's a model that works and we should continue with, but if the majority feels differently, so be it. Meeting the benchmark that the fire district asked for through the Nexus report, I think shows a strong support for our fire department. Despite our other concerns, we really want you to thrive here in the city. So thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve resolution 2024-14, the resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake adopting fire mitigation impact fee with a CPI adjustment.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, a second from Councilmember Purdock. All those in favor?
No.
Oh, forgive me. I'm so used to making motions. I have a motion from Councilmember Slutin, a second from Councilmember Purdock. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. City Manager Fleur.
Okay, so we need a little bit of additional direction on a couple other things. So a few of you mentioned about the city collecting the fees. I believe that was a majority. We're okay on that. Okay. The ordinance also requires that the fire district submit an annual report to the city council. You're wanting to keep that in there.
Yes.
We addressed the CPI. Okay, one other issue, that currently isn't in the ordinance, but I think the council may want to have some consideration of is, so we have a fire district that's larger than the city. The bulk of the planned development will occur within the city. Would you like the fees that are collected by development in the city to be spent for equipment and infrastructure for the fire department in the city?
I don't think we can separate it on equipment, but certainly we can on buildings. And we can't require that an engine not go to Lower Lake or the mutual support in another part.
Building part, like.
But the buildings, yes.
No, I don't care to do that.
Before that. So it seemed like 4-1.
4-1.
Okay. Okay, so we'll work that direction back into the ordinance and bring it back to the council for consideration. Chief?
In previous discussions, I talked about the growth of the Lake County Fire District. And my vision is that 6-5 covers all the way up to really the city boundaries. That growth is in the area of development of the airport. So Station 71.
I need to talk to the council, chief.
That's part, when we look at our call volume and the biggest thing is response times. So our bigger population, Station 71 is currently down here, will cover all the way out to the point. 71 is a critical part of the next 18 years development. Use all that development. People with it really that. We look at responses. 6-5 lower than area all the city. 71 to city on all the way to 7-0 will take all. Building that 15 years might need replacement that needs to be put together.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
No question about that.
No problem.
All right, bring back to council. Any other direction that you need, city manager?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you all. All right, we're moving on to item 13, consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Canocta Unified School District for a school resource officer. Chief.
Evening, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, I want to briefly go over the staff report on the updated MOU with the Canocta Unified School District. So we've been operating with a school resource officer in the school district since the start of the 2023 school year. Prior to that, we had a lapse. We had a SRO that had been in the schools for quite a while and left in October of 2020. And then from October 2020 to the start of last school year, we didn't have anybody. So last school year, we had someone in the schools full time. We want to extend that contract for another year. Basically, that person, nothing in the MOU would change other than some price increases built at the school district. Just a little background, the school district has 9 schools in Clear Lake Oaks, and Lower Lake. Having an officer assigned full-time to the district provides many benefits to the district, as well as the community. The current staffing of the police department allow us to provide 1 full-time SRO. There's provisions in there to add additional officers for special events, specific things that will get funded at the full rate. Under the proposed MOU, the Canocta Unified School District will pay $160,992 to fund the cost of the full-time position, includes salary, benefits, overtime, training, vehicle usage costs. This contract went up roughly about 14,300 from the price of last year. I was due to a COLA increase in the MOU of the POA bargaining unit, step increase for the officer assigned to the school district, and then an increase in the vehicle lease cost, and then additional fuel costs that are actually what the SRO spends. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Chief. Councilmember Sluten.
With Canocti renting a bunch of space at the college, and that the college was also dealing with some security things. Has there been communication with the college to take care of that too, or are you gonna, what's?
This specific person would only deal with stuff that happens on space that's being used by the school district. Their schools, if the school district is leasing space at the college, things that happen at the space they are leasing, this SRO would provide services for those. But this person would not provide service to other locations. Other locations in the campus, the police department, we would respond and deal with those things. We have an agreement with the college to handle certain things. They handle certain things. But if it was out of the area the school district is leasing, it would not be the specific SRO that handles it. Obviously, if they're there and something happens, you know, needs to be addressed right away, they would. But other than that,
Just one thing, maybe when I reach out to the people over there, the president of Woodland, and see what kind, because I think they were in the process of dealing with their security overall. Anyway, so.
Yeah, no, we can definitely do that.
I have one question, Chief. How much time does this SRO spend at the high school versus elementary and middle school?
I don't have the exact breakdown. Prior to last year, majority of their time was spent at high school and Lower Lake Elementary School. A good majority of it, and the rest was spent amongst the other 7 schools. Last year was Obsidian Middle School's first year being open as a middle school. And I would say the majority of the time was spent at that location. Then after that would have been Lower Lake High School and Lower Lake Elementary School.
Great, thank you. All right, I'll open up to public comment. Does anyone here in the chamber have a comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any comments on Zoom?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, unless there are more questions, I'd like to make a motion
Please do.
to approve the memorandum of understanding for school resource officer program between the city of Clear Lake and the Canocti Unified School District.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, a second from Vice Mayor Overton. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Vote is unanimous. Moving on to item 14, consideration of updates to management classification and benefits plan and city salary schedule. City Manager Flora.
Yeah, Mayor Claffey, council members, so this is, you're used to this coming forward. We, the management agreement for management employees that are unrepresented, the agreement the council has with them is to consider a cost of living adjustment based on the CPI, equity adjustments in the labor market, and the financial condition of the city. So it is not automatic. And so each year we come to the council and see if you would like to offer that to management employees. So there's a little bit of history in here. I don't know that I need to go into it. The last few years, as you know, CPI has been quite high. And this past year, March to March is what was selected for whatever reason when the management agreement was put together, was 3.5%. It's a little less than last year was 5%, but as we recommended last year, I don't think that you know, management should have a higher increase than what's worked into the other agreements, and that's been 3% this year is what was agreed to. And so we're recommending, in spite of the 3.5% CPI, that council consider a 3% cost limit adjustment based on CPI for management employees.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll open up to public comment.
Does anyone here in the chamber have a comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any comments on Zoom?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I will bring it back to council.
Consensus we're looking for.
Or consensus. Approval.
You need to make a motion.
Second.
Make a motion to approve the 3% COLA for the employees impacted by the management benefits plan.
Second that.
Thank you both. I have a motion by Councilmember Purdock, a second from Councilmember Kramer. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The vote's unanimous. All right, moving on to item 15, consideration of holding the first reading of ordinance number 270-2024, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake amending section 2-3.7 of the Clear Lake Municipal Code authorizing the city manager to sign documents as specified in government section 40602. City manager.
I'm actually gonna have Administrative Services Director Swanson give the staff report.
Honorable Mayor and council members, a recent update to the government code sections 40601 and 40602 has prompted HCD to request the city to make an amendment to the municipal code that would allow the city manager, in addition to the mayor and vice mayor, to sign the documents approved by the city council, such as warrants, contracts, conveyances, resolutions, ordinances, any documents requiring the city seal. Previously, the city manager was authorized by a council resolution to sign CDBG documents for HCD, including applications and contracts. However, that government code update specifies that only the mayor and vice mayor have the authority to sign those documents approved by the council unless specifically authorized in an ordinance. And basically HCD is asking that we adopt this ordinance or they won't release any more funding to us. So we recommend adoption of this ordinance, holding the first reading tonight and then scheduling the second reading and adoption for the next council meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. Any questions from the council?
I would just add that, I mean, we sent them our municipal code. We think under powers and duties of the city manager is already covered, but they want this code section specifically referenced in there.
Otherwise they will, excuse me. Otherwise they will withhold money.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can have the mayor
I was
come
gonna
and sign
say.
all the documents, so we can do that.
Any other questions? If not, I'll open up to the public. Any comments? Yes, please come forward.
Speak into the microphone.
Margaret Garcia, City of Clear Lake.
City manager, HPC.
HCD is California Department of Housing and Community Development.
CDBG. Community Development Block Grant, that's a grant through HCD.
All right.
Thank you. It's one of the few things I don't have to read out in full, so I like the abbreviation. Any other comments here in the chamber? Madam Clerk, any comments on Zoom?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Back to council.
Mayor. Motion. Well, for the consideration of holding the first reading of ordinance number 270-2024. An ordinance of the city council and city of Clear Lake amending section 2-3.7 of the Clear Lake Municipal Code authorizing the city manager to sign documents as specified in government code section 40602.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, a second from Councilmember Slutin. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. That's it for our business items. City manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have a few items. So, city council candidates, the, period for, polling papers is open this week, through 5 p.m. on August 9th. So if anyone's interested in that, they need to see city clerk. She's already had a handful of folks who have made appointments with her. I wanted to give a little bit of an update to the council on our Austin Beach and the bubble curtain situation. You may have noticed is not looked like it's supposed to. So we've had a lot of issues with the anchoring system on the yellow thing that you see out there is actually a curtain that extends all the way down to the bottom of the lake. And that was installed as a way, as you know, the wind currents push algae mats over here, hit our shore. That's why Austin Park and Redbud Park normally get trapped. And so the idea is we'll keep that from pushing into the beach area. And last year it worked, much better than it has the last couple of weeks, but the anchoring system had came loose and the curtain was not up against the lake shore the way it was supposed to have been. And I actually have some video as the wind was pushing algae mats into the lake shore. It was hitting the southern border of that curtain, wrapping around the beach, and it just sucked and filled that whole thing up. And then, of course, it looked like that outside for quite a period of time when it was really hot, and then the wind action broke up the algae outside the curtain, and everything that was trapped in was still there, very unhealthy. So our crews have done a number of things this week to break that up with the water truck, and there has been some significant progress. They were out there, the boat readjusting and re-anchoring the curtain. So it's in a lot better shape now. There's still some issues. Some of the tubing has got wrapped up in the anchors and whatnot, but I just wanted you to know that I know it's a little embarrassing to see that. That certainly is the way the system is intended to work, but we are trying our best to get it back on track. There's going to be a scoping meeting for the airport redevelopment environmental impact report at the Planning Commission next week. So this is, we released the notice of preparation. I think I mentioned at the last council meeting. This is just an opportunity for agencies and the public to hear kind of a high level overview of the project and provide their comments on what they think about the project or potential environmental impacts will be. And then once we receive that comment, we will begin preparation of the draft environmental impact report. And then of course, there'll be another public hearing associated with that. This isn't really required to be in front of the Planning Commission or even to be a public hearing, but we know it's an important project, and the more we get the word out and the public and the community have the opportunity to learn and provide comment on it, we thought would be helpful. So well, I'll leave this morning's meeting to Mayor Claffey to share. I guess the only other thing that I had on my list is there's a number of mailers that went out this week from Highlands Water Company. Some of you may have received them. The city received quite a number of them. So it looks like it was focused on property owners within Highlands' boundary that do not have water connections. The call to action was to contact me and tell me to withdraw the lawsuit against Highlands Water, but unfortunately there's this wildly misleading, inaccurate information that was the basis for the letter. Fortunately, the folks that have reached out to me, I've responded to and shared some other information, and some of them actually withdrawn their requests for us to withdraw and said, okay, I think you guys need to follow this through. But just the point here is that there's still a lot of misinformation being circulated in the community, and we need to continue to do a better job of getting information out and the facts out, because it's confusing the shareholders of Highlands Water. So
your authority to withdraw the lawsuit.
Yeah. That's okay. Anyway, that's my report.
Thank you, City Manager. The airport meeting?
Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. You can find the agenda staff report on the city website. That's right.
Here. All right, thank you. Councilmember Slutin, your report.
I guess I attended the LAFCO meeting yesterday. We started on changing new chair, and Stacy Martina is the chair, and I was voted in as the vice chair. We started on the fire protection of the county MSR, which includes our fire district. A lot of information to go through, a lot of information to review and look through and make a determination on the MSR on our next meeting, which is in September 18th or something like that. So more to come on that. Also, we were requested to, we could add some more work for our new executive director of LAFCO, Larkin Tyler. And one of the things that I suggested that they look and update their MSR is our sewer district. We've had over the last year or so some spills, some smell issues, and the lack of backup power to several of the pump stations that some houses that were a little bit lower in their thing have had sewage spills within their garages. So need to have a look at that and see. So that's it.
Councilmember Purdock.
For folks who didn't know what's an MSR.
Municipal service review.
I knew you were gonna ask. So I sat in and listened as the alternate at the LAFCO meeting. It was riveting. But that's the only meeting I attended. Chief, I apologize for having to miss the AVA meeting, but I had a meeting that pays me money, so I had to take that one. I don't know if you wanted to share what happened with AVA, you're welcome to, but I think that's important.
I can't share much. I was not at the meeting. Lieutenant Peterson.
There you go.
President Lambert were there. I know we gave our normal quarterly statistics on the tows and abatements and things we did during the last quarter, and also for the fiscal year of 23-24. Presentation was made on that.
Thank you,
I do
Chief.
not have specifics on that.
Thank you though, Chief.
Councilmember Kramer.
Not too much to report either. I did attend an RRA meeting on Monday. We talked about some grant money that we received that will go toward to developing Lake County Risk Reduction Authority, Margaret. Anyhow, we talked about monies that we'll be starting and trying to biomass projects started to take care of a lot of the dead and dying trees, either or fire killed or killed by pine needles in pine or oak borers in oak trees. And that project's gaining some momentum. I hope it will get better. We're also talked about, and actually Chief Cepeda was at the meeting as well. He talked about their FERC, Clear Lake Environmental Research Center, Margaret, that deals with, it was formed to deal with water issues on the lake, quality, et cetera, but because of all the fires that we've had in the last 6-8 years, the focus has really shifted to fire resiliency, increasing your, reducing the fire hazards. And some of the things you even talked about, trying to, reduce the vegetation to make it safer. At any rate, we've got a project here in the Clear Lake area specifically of about 223 acres, I believe, that it entails throughout the city that clerk will be doing different things over the next few years. Chipping operations, maybe burning operations were feasible, et cetera. So that was that meeting. And I'm Also on the board, or I'm on the committee for the Shakespeare at the Lake, which will be here on August 2nd and 3rd. Out here in the park and on the stage. Tempest, the punk edition, I think it is. So it's a modern version of the Shakespearean play Tempest. And that's pretty much what I have.
And again, what character are you playing?
The Tempest. I'm the Grinch, actually.
Vice Mayor Overton.
Yes, well, we had our would still be here because I'd like to talk to him about, because we did have our clean water meeting and we are doing some things to start trying to see in some of the areas of where we could capture and see what's in our water, like what's actually coming into our lake. So we're working on that. We're going to do some little test things out there on some different to see if they're going to work to tell us what's going into our environment here. So I will contact him later to find out exactly where his problems are. But I'm kind of excited to see how this process is gonna work. My concerns was over by Elam and the volcanic stuff that comes through our waters down here. But they're going to try some different places around the lake. Unfortunately, Clear Lake wasn't going to be the big area because there's others. They're trying in some smaller streams so that we can see what's coming in. If we can figure out if this works, then we might go bigger. But I'm kind of anxious to see how all that will work. And maybe we can find out actually what's coming into our lake, because that's been the hardest part to really capture where it's coming from. And, and so these little streams that come in is we're going to try to see if we could figure out what's actually coming through each one of those streams. So I'm kind of excited to finally start moving on some of that to try to get us here. I wanted to make the comment, since you're here, Mark, on the curb gutters and sidewalks. You move to the country, you don't have curb gutters and sidewalks, and when developers come in and they do things like the apartment complex over there, they're putting in curb gutters and sidewalks. So it is required. If they build a house, it's required. But when they're older places, it's not required, of course, that's just, but when you move to the country, you're going to have potholes, you're going to have these things. And the city, I know people think but we're a very young city, and we took on roads that were totally already falling apart. And I mean, I feel like we've done more roads than any city that I know of in the state of California in since 2017. I don't think any city, big or small, has done as many roads as what we have. I think we're really trying hard. But when people say my road, well, everybody wants their roads done. We understand that. But yeah, but we can only do so many roads at a time. And so we do have, is that online where they can look at the chart that we had showed a couple of meetings ago?
I can't say for sure. We have some, yeah, we need to, I'll double check and get it.
I think that probably needs to be on, because this seems to be coming back, and I think it's fortunately going to be a big issue here that we need to just have posted.
We have some nice new signs for the lobby and stuff that have the map and stuff on it. They came in today. We didn't have a chance to get them up, but they'll be up.
I think we need something online too, because not everybody's going to come into City Hall. They're just not going to. So anyway, so that's I believe that's all I had to say. I just yeah, that's all my report.
Mayor, can I just follow up to one of the comments Vice Mayor Overton brought up and related to the comment earlier? So again, as we know, basically nothing was done right in the city the first time. That's why we're trying to do it right now. But we did get funding and are in the process of doing a citywide storm drain analysis and master plan. So that has been underway, which would be mapping all the stuff and all that. So it's a really important, big undertaking for us to get done, but that will allow us to better plan for what we need to do. So.
Great, thank you. For my report today, this morning, City Manager Flora and I went to a meeting around Lake Pillsbury. The situation remains pretty dire. Congressman Thompson was there. The mayor from Lakeport was there, county staff. Some of the tribes were there as well. All of us in support of keeping the dam. Unfortunately, again, things aren't looking great. I just wanted to give a shout out to the work that the county is doing. Supervisor Crandall has been front and center, talking with folks, trying to do whatever he can. And I don't think folks know how hard he is working, and Supervisor Sabatier and Treasurer and Tax Collector Patrick Sullivan. They're on the front lines of this, and, you know, we're going up against Sonoma, Mendocino, Humboldt, and they're doing all they can. Congressman Thompson has been very supportive. We just have limited options right now. So we didn't come away from that meeting with any action items for the city. And I know Lake Pillsbury doesn't really impact us, but we have a community in Lake County that needs support, and I would like for us to support them however we can. Future agenda items, Vice Mayor Overton.
About, I'd like to put on to the future agenda to talk about the sales tax. We have this 8.75. So we have this money that's kind of like not really being used, that I really feel needs to come to the community. So I'd like to kind of bring it back and talk about putting maybe, you know, doing a survey and stuff and putting a sales tax on for like recreation, park or recreation, maybe a swimming pool, you know, but I just want to put it on the agenda to kind of talk about and see what we can do to move forward on maybe getting something like that next time.
I would be in support of that.
So am I.
All right, we have direction to have that in the next agenda. Go ahead.
Would it be one that we have 2/3? Or
Well, that would be what we'd have to discuss. That's why I just wanted on the agenda.
Yep. I have a future agenda item as well. Recently, there has been some turmoil with the Clear Lake Farmers Market. I want to have a discussion about our fees for events and markets and festivals, shifting from a fee-based model to a deposit-based model. It's something that the city of San Francisco did recently, not the deposit piece, but they've slashed all fees for markets and festivals like that. I don't think that's appropriate for us, but shifting the burden would be something I'd like to discuss. All right, I only hear two. So we'll keep that off. Oh. All right, moving on to nothing else except thank you all for joining us today. We're going to move to closed session.
office.